Namaste, beautiful souls, Venus lovers, soul tribe, friends, and families. Welcome to my channel. It's Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. I have a really amazing presentation for you today. We're going to talk about the next new moon, which will be on February 9th or 10th, depending on where you are in the world, occurring in the constellation of Capricorn. Okay, I titled this talk Engage Builder Protocols because reality is not what we think it is. We actually have a lot more control than what we're led to believe. Let me get a few quick announcements out of the way since you all like to pay attention at the beginning, and I really want you all to hear what I have to say about our next class that we're doing. So if you guys are in my group, the Fellowship of 13 Signs on Facebook, you'll know that I do live classes once a month. We're going to do two pretty quickly back to back. The next one is going to be on Saturn, and I'm titling the course uh, Saturn and His Lessons Through the Zodiac. So what we'll endeavor to do in this live practicum course with Saturn is we're going to familiarize ourselves with the astronomy of Saturn. We're going to review Saturn iconography, mythology, cosmology. We're going to understand the psychology of Saturn's energy and develop a working knowledge of Saturn's lessons in the houses and constellations. There's also blocks and strengths with Saturn that we realize when he's aspected to other parts of our chart, and we'll also review Saturn cycles. There'll be examples in there, and we're really going to work with this energy. I'm very excited to share it with you. The next one is those of you that did the Venus practicum with me a couple weeks ago. Uh, what we found is that we didn't even really scratch the surface on Venus. There's so much more. I mean, I went through everything that you can possibly go through with mythology, cosmology, astronomy. We went through the houses, we went through the signs, we did Venus in aspect, we did a few examples of Venus power, what that might mean. But there's still so much more. There's the Venus cycle in general. There's Venus-centered natal readings, how to do those, how to work with transits, how to work with Venus returns, progressed Venus, and then also counseling clients. And I kind of want this to be a bigger part of a Venus specialist certification so that those of you that are vibing with me on this Venus energy, you can start to do your own readings, unblock your own Venus, and really find out how reworking and relooking at Venus energy in your astrology can change things for you. So this class will be on the 9th of March. So on February 24th, we're going to do Saturn, and on March 9th, we are going to do Venus. So stay tuned for those announcements, either through YouTube or Facebook, or if you guys are on my email list, you'll get all of those. All right, let me stop sharing the screen so we can talk a little bit about this new moon. So first, I just want to give you a quick presentation about why I named this talk what I did. So we are extremely powerful. We are spiritual beings that are individualized, embodied in this flesh, this physical reality. Our minds subconsciously co-create the reality that we see with our eyes, touch with our hands, hear with our ears, smell with our nose, taste with our tongue. That mind of ours receives input. Okay, our senses are connected to very ancient parts inside of our brain, and our physical vehicle responds to a lot of things very intuitively. In other words, there's no process that's connected to the higher parts of our brain, to our spirituality. It's just sort of a subconscious or unconscious program that we sense something and we feel it, and our body knows what to do. So these are protocols that we don't have to react to without thinking or feeling. But sometimes the brain takes these senses, these inputs, and gives it to our thinking brain. And then our brain puts it all together and projects this reality outside of our world. So then we begin to take all this in and we think about it and we feel about it. But every single human can learn to use this process to tap into spirit, to work with spirit, and to consciously co create a new and different reality. A reality that's more suited to what it is that your spirit wants you to do while you're here. So, what's the difference between conscious co creation and unconscious co creation? That's the key, right? Like, what is it? How do I go from unconsciously creating all this horrible stuff in my life to consciously creating the beautiful existence that I dream of in my mind? And it's literally awareness. Awareness. I can see, I am knowing. Yes, that's it. So, what exactly is awareness? Okay, you say awareness, Dr. Danny. What does that mean? Awareness of your thoughts. What am I thinking? What am I thinking right now? What does that mean to me? Awareness of your feelings. How does it make you feel? What does it do to your body? And awareness of your abilities and your sovereignty. So, your environment, your internal dialogue, and the physical sensations that your body feels gives you clues every single moment as to what you are unconsciously or subconsciously creating. And the first step is to recognize how incredibly powerful you are and then decide what you want. Let me give you my own personal story of manifestation. This is how I know it works. I wasn't always a doctor, okay? I wasn't always what people would call some super important, super smart person in my community. No, I was a waitress with a theater degree. I was literally in my late 20s trying to figure out what the meaning of my life was. And I decided to go back to school to study medicine at great cost, financially, emotionally, spiritually. And I made it work. And it was one day at a time. It was one thought at a time. It was one intention at a time. How can I bring myself closer to this reality? What do I need to do to get there? Because it became an obsession, it became a passion, it became something that I had to do. And so I went back to school. I studied biology, I studied chemistry 101. I was 28 years old and I was in classes with 18-year-olds studying basic chemistry, studying basic physics, studying basic biology. Fascinated by everything I was learning. I was so excited to go back to school. I showed up a day early. That's how passionate I was about it. I didn't care what it would take. I even put my classes on my credit card so that I could pay for it later and go to school and learn what I needed to learn, the prerequisites I needed to enter medical school. Okay, so you need some experience too. So I learned to be a doula, a birth doula. That was the first thing I did. I learned how to be with women that were giving birth. And that's what I do now. I'm with them when I give birth. And that experience allowed me to have clinical experience, science experience, and then I got jobs that were related in the field, jobs on campus. I talked to all the people I needed to talk to get into it, and I got accepted. Now comes the hard work, right? I created medical school so that I could do this work. And, without going into the long version of the story, essentially, I'm just trying to illustrate to you that if you're passionate about something every single moment, every single day, you can affect your thoughts and your feelings and your actions to move towards that goal. Now, why do I study astrology? Well, I feel like for a lot of us, astrology is like the map of existence printed on our sky. It's the original book of instructions for how to navigate the larger realm that we find ourselves waking up in. And it doesn't matter what you think that the sky is made of, or who or what put it there, if it's just physical, natural processes, or if it's some sort of weird spiritual, ethereal process, we can all agree that it's there, right? You see the sky, I see the sky. We can all agree that space affects life. Like, we can all agree that we come from the matter expelled from exploding stars, right? We're all connected in that way. Um, so, is it really a far leap to think that there might be some wisdom for us to extract from the celestial map in the sky? So, what I want to do is go into this next new moon with that kind of underlying the theme, because what we're doing is we are engaging our builder protocols. A new moon is a new cycle, it's a reset, it's a tiny reset that happens within our larger span of time. And a lot of us say, let's set intentions during the new moon. But what's an intention? What is an intention? It's a combination of awareness, like we just talked about, focused prayer, and your imagination. I didn't get inspired to do the little things day by day to get into medical school. I I imagined what the next thing would be that I would need to do. and I took the steps to do it. So it's not just about imagining and manifesting, it's imagining and taking inspired action. So, what intentions are we going to set during this new moon? Well, for me, this new moon is going to be over my moon in the ninth house. So, this energy is for me feeling achievement by learning the highest wisdom. That's what turns me, that's what I love to attract to myself. But the moon's your trigger, right? So I'm triggered by dogmatic thinking. No, it doesn't always have to be your way or my way or that person's way. It's whatever it is that you need it to be for you to take the inspired actions. So I can't stand following protocols because that's how we've always done it. If you tell me to do something just because it's the way we've always done it, you got to tell me why. And that's the moon over my moon during this new moon. So wherever your moon is, whatever is in Capricorn, in the constellation of Capricorn, um, wherever that house is for you, that's this energy of manifestation that you're going to be feeling. So let's share the screen again and let's take a look at this moon. It's right here. Let's see. Here it is. Let me get my pen out. When I first looked at this moon, you guys, I my heart sank. I don't know why. I just got this feeling that there was something not so good about this moon. But I think it's actually going to be all right. So here's what I mean by Capricorn. So the sun is right here and the moon is right here. This is the constellation of Capricorn. This is constellational astrology. This is not Vedic astrology. This is not tropical astrology. There is no taking some ephemeris and interpreting it and trying to figure out what part of the sky that's in. This is literally what the sky looks like, you guys. Okay, so this is the horizon right here. This is the eastern sky. This is the western sky. We are in the middle, and this is what's above us right here. Okay, so where I live, the moon is going to be exactly new at 7:40 p.m. Now, that may be different for you depending on where in the world you are. So it might be on the 9th or it might be on the 10th, depending on where you live. But the moon is the feminine divine principle, right? It's what we magnetize to ourselves through our emotions, our intuition, it's our empathy. The moon in Capricorn may trigger our sense of reliability. You know, what are we drawing to ourselves? Ask yourself that. What am I drawing to myself? Am I sitting in a place of victimhood? Am I drawing situations where I am always a victim? Or am I drawing situations to me where I have control and I can pick what I need to do? Are we holding ourselves responsible for anything? And who makes up the rules about what is responsible and what's not responsible? Is it responsibility to ourselves, responsibility to others, responsibility to our creations? It's all of those things, but those are things that we have set up for ourselves. That's what Capricorn is. It's crystallization of your co-creation. What does the sun in Capricorn mean? Well, this is the highest expression of our spiritual selves in the sign of the highest expression of achievement. So it's not necessarily how we feel about responsibility like the moon, but it's also how do we express that responsibility? And what is that we are called to that's trying to show us in the next lunar cycle? So this new moon is new. There's this energy of responsibility. There's this energy of questioning that responsibility, perhaps, and what this new lunar cycle is going to bring to us. So I say we take responsibility, engage our own builder protocol because the way you see the world is completely up to you. Like, you created me and this video because you needed to hear this message. I created you, the listeners, because I need someone to hear this message. Okay, so that's the simple idea with this new moon for me going forward in this lunar cycle. So let's talk a little bit about some of the aspects to the sun and the moon. So first we have, let me get out the pen here. First we have sun and moon right here. We're activating our builder protocols. And Venus. Usually I leave Venus for last, but Venus is doing a semi-sextile to the sun and the moon from Sagittarius. within the orb of conjunction with Mars. Now, if y'all have not seen my my Mars Venus Pluto conjunction video, I will leave a link for that. Wow, that video is, I mean, this next lunar cycle with the three of those luminaries conjoining is really quite incredible. 222 is when Venus and Mars are conjunct in the constellation of Capricorn, pretty much right where the sun is right now. So Venus semi-sextile to the moon. This is this energy right here from Venus to sun moon. And a semi-sextile is two different elements working harmoniously together. So we have Venus in a fire sign. Venus is following her fiery heart of passion and desire. Sometimes on different days, it could be a different thing, but she's just following that fiery heart. Wherever she wants to go, that's where she's got to go. Okay. And then Mars is also in Sagittarius, loosely conjunct her right now, but getting closer and closer every day. So we have this divine unification of polarities working with the sun moon, which is in that earth, the stability, crystallization. Okay. So you have earth and fire. So this kind of feels to me like you're molding your clay pot and then it's malleable until you put it in the fire because the fire is what crystallizes it. So it's the passion. It's the passion behind your creation that makes it manifest in this energy. So you're basically crystallizing the shape of the pot. Now, Uranus is playing a big role this month. Uranus is squaring on the sun moon. Venus is trining right now on this day. So this is basically Uranus in Aries is like this insane electric metamorphosis of the self. Okay. And it's squaring on the responsible inner and outer expression of ourself, of our builder protocols. So you may be drawn to create something that is completely different, completely crazy, completely new, completely out there. Or you may have jolts of electric inspiration, but not be able to do anything about it because you've already created something that's encrusted you and held you back. You can break it up, and Uranus can help you do that. It's just there's some attachment issues with doing that. So the way I feel about this energy, especially with the semi-sextile that we're creating our clay pot and then we're crystallizing it in the kiln, you're going to have to ask yourself, what are you creating? What does it mean? Is it important to you? And if it is, that's great. But if it isn't, there's some transformative work for you to do. And like I said, that's coming with Venus, Mars, and Pluto conjunct in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, make sure that what you're crystallizing is truly and authentically you, no matter how weird that is. Because Uranus is also quincunxing the South Node. This is like a potential that's really difficult to realize. So Uranus wants you to break out of your habits and your ruts and your karmic patterns. And I tell you, whenever you break pattern, that's when reality starts to sort of work for you. Don't get stuck in a rut routine. Be conscious of your routines. Be conscious of your patterns because that's what the South Node is. It's your patterns. It's your karma. So if you can be conscious about it, um, be conscious that you take energy and you turn it into matter, especially with your patterns and your habits. Um, yeah, this is what this energy. Now, South Node can also be very draining too. So old routines and patterns are going to get very draining, especially in the presence of this Uranus energy that's really asking you, what is that inner and outer expression? What are you building? Venus also squares the nodes and Chiron. So she's squaring the South Node here. See, doesn't this look like tough energy? We got quincunxes and squares all over the place. It's just really tough. So she's also squaring on North Node and Chiron. This energy is waning away by now. So she's the last one to square these nodes. And once she separates away from the South Node, all that tension that we've been feeling with our evolution, you're going to feel that ease off. So those of you that have sort of been stuck in deciding or changing your life path, after this week, things are really going to start feeling energetically better. There's going to be less conflicts with yourself. So, you've got your North Node in Pisces, which is universal love and oneness. That's the collective's evolutionary milestone, conjunct Chiron, speaking to us to integrate our wounds, to love our wounds, to accept ourselves, to accept what we are, and know that we're beautifully and perfectly created. So, Venus is feeling every part of this within the orb, transcending fear, accepting, and allowing. So, one of the nicer intentions that you can probably set is to accept the path that you've chosen, because it truly is authentically you, and let that divine creative source energy flow into that space. Let it flower, let it bloom, let it blossom. Because Venus trines on Uranus. So there's this connection here between these nodes, Uranus, Venus, and the sun and moon. So this is the self squaring on the metamorphosis of Uranus and Aries. Venus is trining on this energy, allowing and accepting the uniqueness of self, loving and integrating the true divinity of creation in the fire that's in her heart, the unexpected and really wonderful energy that can come in through this. So really open yourself up to unexpected, to things that are different. And you might find that you'll be able to create more easily if you're doing this cycle right. And of course, we've talked about the Venus and Mars conjunction, the unification of divine polarities, cosmic merging of our divine creative energy with our bravery and our awareness and our will. Whew, it's good stuff. Let's talk a little bit about some. Okay, so that was, yeah, that was those are the only real lunar aspects with the nodes, and then with the sun moon. But there's some other aspects in here that might speak to and sort of flesh out some of this energy. One of those things is Mars and Pluto sextiling Neptune. This feels like, so let me clear up this moon energy here, you so we don't get too messy. So we have Mars and Pluto sextiling on Neptune and Pisces. Right? Yeah, there it is. There's that sextile right there. This line. Okay. Remember, these are opportunities. They have two polarities. They have the entire gamut of the polarities. But I feel like this is concrete spiritual guidance, and the will, which is Mars, to surrender, which is Neptune. Right? So I feel like illusions, the illusionary aspect of Neptune, is going to be very difficult to believe. So you're going to see the illusions, you're going to see them for what they are, because Pluto is right there. Pluto brings out our darkest, most naked, most secret truths. So Neptune is going to have a very difficult time, I think, tricking us or giving us illusions. So, or it could also be energy of bravely facing the illusions that you have set up for yourself, right? Because it's the illusions that you're creating from usually when you're in a space that's not good for you. And so bravely facing those illusions, getting to the heart of the matter, is going to help you create that reality that you so desire. Venus semi-squares Saturn right here. And a semi-square is a subtle tension that we're ignoring. Okay. The cosmos wants me to point it out, that so you remember here, we've got this fiery heart of Venus, our divine creation, in a tension, like a subtle tension, with Saturn in Aquarius. And Saturn is just like the old guru, sitting patiently, waiting for us to learn the lessons of the Aquarian age. And Venus might be tapped into it. But there's rules, there's training, there's ways to harness this energy and to use this energy for manifesting that which is good for all. And that can be used in service to others rather than service to self, because I feel like that's what our Aquarian age is about. It's no longer about the me, it's about the we. Because I'm you and you're me. I mean, that's basically what it comes up to when we're at that level, when we're co-creating in the Aquarian age. So the next two aspects are longer transits. Let's talk about those real quick. Just clear all drawings, get a pen. And that is going to be Saturn in a quintile with Uranus. So you see how all these planets are sort of working together, giving us a message, the message in the sky on how to use our powerful abilities. And then the second one is Saturn, excuse me, sextile to Jupiter. So Saturn has two long transits with these guys, a quintile and a sextile, right? So quintile is like a talent or a potential that we can tap into. So that's why Uranus is commenting on the sun, moon, and our south node. And then Saturn is commenting on Uranus with this quintile, saying, yes, there is a potential. What comes to mind is basically like the rules of freedom and the guidelines of change, or the framework for a revolution. It's a very nice space for us to start creating these new rules. Not rules because we've always done them, not doing it the same way because we've always done it that way. Let's ask ourselves why we do it. We'll keep the rules that work, but let's make new rules. Let's create a new reality. And this is very nice. This is very nice. These new rules is because Saturn is an Aquarius, it's his traditional rulership, but Uranus rules it now. So this is a nice, friendly energy, and there's a potential for a structure of change. Saturn sextiles Jupiter also. This is a pretty long transit. So yeah, underlying that Saturn Uranus, this Saturn sextile to Jupiter, this is a sustained growth, a lasting value. Um, there's an energy of having plenty of time, more than enough time. And so we should take this as an opportunity. It's the opportunity to work with that freedom energy, to work with that revolution, evolution energy. But just be very careful with the sextile too, because don't overpromise. You can say you're going to create these 5,000 things, but you know, there are rules in this realm. You can't do everything by yourself at once. So don't overpromise, and be aware of anyone overpromising to you as well, because they are coming from an honest place with this astrology energy. They may not realize it, that they're not able to deliver what they promise on. All right, so let's talk about Mercury. Mercury's doing three different things, and then we will wrap it up. Let's erase these doodles real quick and focus on Mercury. Mercury's right here, also conjunct to Pluto, but in a looser orb, right here. So Mercury has already crossed over the energy of Pluto, and that is just bringing out the truth. That's like mentally understanding the deep, dark truths, mentally transmitting the truths, uncovering secrets. So Mercury semisextile Saturn. This is a brief transit, but a semisextile is once again those two different elements working harmoniously together. So we have innovation, air, Aquarius, Saturn bringing in new rules, and then Mercury in Capricorn. So Capricorn is Earth, Saturn is Earth, Mercury is air, Aquarius is air, right? So we have this semi-sextile combination. This could be as simple as using new structures to communicate old wisdom, or an old technology used to transmit new wisdom. So there's like an old and a new here, and an archaic and a technological energy involved with this. This is a nice little aspect. I like that. Mercury is also conjunct Pluto, and we talked a lot about Venus and Mars doing their conjunction with Pluto, but this completion of this conjunction was bringing out the truth. So taking action on a new technology or an old technology to either transmit the new or the old wisdom. So there's that underlying energy there with that new moon. And then finally, Mercury and Pluto are going to square Jupiter. They both do that right here. Jupiter and Aries. And I think we talked about everybody already, so that's good. So this is energy that I really, if we're going to be over promising, we have to be careful, because Mercury in a disharmonious aspect like this, misperception and misrepresentation of the truth are very common. Okay, so Jupiter in Aries is expansive, self-expansive faith, or expansive faith in the self, uh, And then Mercury's trying to communicate great ideas and talk about how easy it is and how great it is in actuality when he probably can't deliver. So he's like, yes, we can do this, we can do this. So that's Mercury and Jupiter. And then Pluto and Jupiter is what we call alchemical black gold, meaning that uh, it's from the ashes that true gold is created. So it's about taking responsibility of self, breaking free from old patterns, this whole new moon. Okay, guys, this is what this cycle is about. We're going to sum it up right here. Actually, let me stop sharing so we can stop looking at the chart. So, taking responsibility of the self, breaking free of old patterns, transcending fear, communicating truthfully and thoughtfully about what you actually can accomplish. There's a tremendous transformation and unification of the divine polarities with Mars and Venus, with the divine feminine and the sacred masculine. So, this cycle really is about remembering how powerful you are, that you can break patterns and change your life. You can take responsibility for what you create by developing an awareness of your thoughts, of your feelings, and what you're sensing in the world around you. All right, that's all I have for you guys. So like this video if you love it, please subscribe. If you're lurking, please join the Fellowship of 13 Signs. I'll leave a link down there below. It's where you'll get all the announcements and stay up to date on current readings and courses that I'm offering. And then please follow me on Facebook, and I will see you next time. Namaste, beautiful souls. Thank you.